Ready to rock, are you ready to roll? Will you open the lock to your heart and your soul? Are you feeling the beat? Is it turning you on? Can you carry the
Alright everybody, we're going to do another little video tutorial here. This one is called Functional Groups in Cool Molecules, and I believe it's my third functional groups video tutorial. So if you want to look at some of the fundamentals of functional groups, you can go back and watch my other two functional groups videos. There's worksheets available for those ones in addition to the worksheet that's available for this one. So go down to my website at www.zerobio.com and check that out. And in addition, you can print out this worksheet. I'll leave the link in the information section so you can follow along with me as we do this video. So once you got the worksheet, come on back to the video. Now you're going to notice that my molecule here is colored in just to make it a little bit more interesting to look at. You can color yours the same way if you like. And what we have here is, these are the atoms in the molecule, and carbon is done in black, and that's the typical molecular model color for carbon. Hydrogen is in white and oxygen is in red. You'll notice that in this molecule, carbon makes its 4 bonds, 1, 2, 3, 4. In every case, carbon's making 4 bonds. In every case, oxygen is making 2 bonds, whether it's a double bond or a couple of single bonds, and hydrogen is always making 1 bond. All right? So let's go ahead and identify the name of this molecule. You can write the name in here. This is acetyl salicylic acid. This is the main active ingredient in aspirin. All right, so if you like, you can just call this aspirin, but in particular, it's acetyl salicylic acid, or ASA. So if you happen to have a bottle of aspirin or you see it in the drugstore, just pick it up and look for ASA or acetyl salicylic acid, and that is what this molecule will be. Now, our task is to identify the functional groups in this molecule. And it's really not going to be very difficult if you've seen the other videos. All right, so if we look in the center, we'll see a 6-membered ring with alternating single and double bonds. Okay, see the way it's single and then double, single and then double, single and double. So that's alternating single and double bonds between carbons. So I'm going to circle this entire group right here. And we can call this a phenyl. That's what I referred to it before, a phenyl ring. It's also commonly known as an aromatic ring or benzene, a benzene ring, depending on what functional groups are projecting off to. So I'm going to go ahead and call it a phenyl group. And if we come over here, we see C double bond O, OH attached to the ring. So let's circle that. And this is a carboxyl group. Now notice once again that you don't want to include this carbon in the carboxyl group. It's just this region right here. All right. Now, when we come down here, we see C double bond O, carbon group on one side, oxygen carbon on the other. Now this carbon is part of the aromatic ring. So this is where we run into a little bit of trouble. I'm going to go ahead and start circling this stuff right here. Normally, I would grab the oxygen for this functional group because this is going to be an ester, and I would grab that carbon. But I want to show that this functional group has been sort of clicked onto the aromatic ring or the phenyl. There was a condensation reaction right here, and so some atoms have been removed to produce water, and this functional group is clicked on. So this will be our ester, our carboxyl, and our phenyl group. And those are the 3 major functional groups in here. Now be careful because this area right up here, let me switch to a different color. This area right here, it looks quite a bit like a methyl group. But it is really part of the ester, so we're not going to identify it as a methyl group. Okay, let's go on to the next one. There's only a couple, so this will be a shorter video. We have another molecule here, again, carbon in black, oxygen in red, and hydrogen in white, making the correct number of bonds. But we also have a new atom here, right there. And we have nitrogen in blue. Nitrogen makes 3 bonds, so it's 1, 2, 3. All right, so let's go ahead and identify the functional groups in this molecule. Once again, this is based on the aromatic ring, or the phenyl, so I'm going to go ahead and circle that. So circle it and name it along with me. We'll call this the phenyl. And some of the easy functional groups that we see off here are OH or hydroxyl, and another OH or hydroxyl or alcohol group. Okay, so a couple of hydroxyl groups off of this phenyl ring here. This, of course, is a molecule of adrenaline. Adrenaline is a hormone released by the adrenal gland, which travels through the bloodstream and causes an increase in heart rate and dilation of bronchial passages so you can breathe better. It's considered one of the fight or flight hormones. All right, let's continue with circling functional groups. If I come up here, there is another hydroxyl group in adrenaline. So we've got 3 hydroxyls. Now, I want to mention something that may or may not come up for you sometime. This is a hydroxyl group proper. It's attached to a carbon over here, and it is not attached to a ring. When hydroxyl groups are attached to a phenyl, they are sometimes referred to as phenol, P-H-E-N-O-L, phenol groups. But they are still essentially hydroxyl groups, so you can go ahead and call them hydroxyls. We have another functional group in here, and this one might seem a little strange. And this is why, once you know the fundamentals of functional groups, you'll see that there are a few changes. Just like I showed you with that ester missing an atom, we have nitrogen connected to hydrogen, just connected to regular carbons. This is not a C double bond O, so we're not going to look at amide. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to circle this, and this is an amino group. All right. Normally, you would be used to seeing amino as NH2 and then the nitrogen connected to, a carbon chain or something like that. There's no hydrogen here, and that's because nitrogen makes its 3 bonds, and it doesn't need that hydrogen. This is still an amino. So, you have to be aware of that and look carefully at these things and just come up with the best possible names you can for the functional groups. Now, I will circle this CH3 here. This is not one of the more important functional groups, but this is a methyl group. All right, it is not part of another functional group, and so on its own, it's a methyl group. So that's adrenaline with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 functional groups in total in the molecule. Some of them, of course, are repeats. All right, so a little bit of quick review of functional groups.
So are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Will you open the lock to your heart and your soul? Are you feeling the beat? Is it turning you on? Can you carry the heat now that summer is gone? I can see in your eyes, a ghost never dies. It's abundantly clear. You're gonna rock the school year.